It's been another full month, which means peak has returned. Galaxias chapter 31 is officially released, and it was another banger chapter. And this actually sets us up for, already somehow, the big fight of the arc that we're getting into. And it really feels like Aurafarming just is not wasting our time. We had the setup already, now we're just going to go straight into the action, and we're just going to see what else is going to happen, as it's just going to be utter bedlam from here. And not gonna lie, it literally has been a full month, and I feel like, well, I would prefer this go back to a consistent bi-weekly schedule like it was supposed to. I'm fine with it being monthly now, because the artwork has consistently gotten better. The artwork for Galaxias has been great from the beginning, but it just has gotten consistently better ever since he went on this, more inconsistent schedule, but now more monthly schedule. Mainly because, obviously, he had more time to work on this. Yes, the chapters are the same length as a average weekly to bi-weekly chapter, but I think the art is definitely worth it, and I'm here for it, if I'm being honest with you. As of right now, I don't know if we're still having another 1 month break, or if we're back to bi-weekly. If I figure this out, I'll let you know by the time the next chapter review comes out. But for now, we got chapter 31 of Galaxias, and it was a doozy of a chapter. So before we jump right into it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. And also don't forget to hype the video to help boost it in the algorithm. Another thing, I am planning to try and do a few more Galaxias videos, at least one Galaxias video addition every month between chapters if we stay on a monthly schedule for the time being. And I do want those videos to end up being, at least for now, I'm planning to do comment reaction videos. Comment down below what your thoughts on the chapters, speculations and everything, and I'll probably do a video a week or two later before the next chapter releases on my thoughts and responses to your comments about this chapter or future chapters, etc. Because I used to do it before That's the Apocalypse, but I have other stuff going on between chapters now. So I want to do this at least for Galaxias because we have the time to really sit down and think about what's going to happen next. But with all that out of the way, that long intro out of the way, let's jump right into the chapter. Chapter 31 of Galaxias, titled Rat in a Trap. And we begin as the dragonfolk detector slowly but surely starts to buzz extremely, as we get cut to Neraid's fist breaking through a wall as he charges forward to fight more of these guards in the fortress, as everyone is shouting about a lone enemy crashing through and fighting everybody in close combat as they're trying to get him to stop. But we cut to Schmitt with a bunch of keys, as this was actually shortly after they knocked out the previous Dragon Knight, and he was a chief guard, so knocking him out was definitely something that helped him in the long run. But sirens are going off, as it seems that this particular Dragon Knight, with his electrical powers, was basically setting up a dead man switch for himself. Once he gets knocked out or killed, his own subtle electric currents that are being sent to a transmission are literally stopped, which means it notifies people that something happened to him, which is very clever. I love how we always get unique and cool ways to utilize each of these dragonfolk's abilities. But yeah, this Dragon Knight is still conscious now, but he's unable to move, and he's broken down. But yeah, that's insane. We then cut to him talking to Krenka, as she's giving him a special task to find Schmitt and someone else, and to deal with them before they enter Krenka. Now, they entered Krenka, obviously, but even still not the main building. But the Dragon Knight, whose name is Marius, asks who this other person is, as Krenka is being awfully evasive about the intel that she's giving him. To which Krenka just says the captain trusts him. Obviously, Antares trusts him, which means he is a very trustworthy person that follows orders and gets the job done. So that's a nice subtle way of building this guy's character. But now, cutting back to the present, he understands why he was put on this task and why they've been withholding this information, as he thinks of Neraid. Now, Schmitt and Neraid are wondering where are they going to go, and if Schmitt is okay after getting stabbed in the previous chapter. That's something I was wondering what happened. I conveniently forgot that he can literally use different objects to regenerate limbs and organs like he did with Neraid previously, so it makes sense that a stab wound through the gut he'd be able to heal himself with using his powers. So, yeah. But Schmitt tells Neraid that it's time for them to get going, but Neraid is wondering what to do with this Dragon Knight, as Schmitt says with how cold it is, he's not going to make it by the time rescue appears. But Neraid just tosses him into the pipe, as he should probably be fine in that pipe. It should be warm enough and protect him from the cold and harsh winds until rescue arrives. As Neraid says, look, it ain't like I'm trying to be a hero. I don't like killing, but that doesn't mean I'll try to save just anyone. But if you die now, Geo won't be able to adventure again. With this guy asking who Neraid is, with Neraid giving the probably best response he could, I don't know who I am. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Now, what Neraid means by Geo not being able to adventure anymore most likely means that if he kills someone just literally trying to do his job that isn't literally like a murderous monster or whatever, and also him killing a Dragon Knight under Antares would literally make him and Geo, like, their situation worse and make adventuring very hard to do. Or if he killed this guy, they could potentially just accelerate Geo's execution right there and then. And, yeah, that would be very bad. But as Neraid and Schmitt are walking away, the Dragon Knight says that they should head from the north. And that there's a factory that's not in use right now, and at this hour there shouldn't be many guards or others around. And he's sure that those guys will be able to get through. And so they just got some pretty useful information, as they're wondering why he would tell them. But in his thoughts, he basically reveals why he did this. He did this to lessen the damage and losses to soldiers, and he asks for Antares to forgive him. As we cut back to the Rampage from the beginning of the chapter, as Neraid is just breaking through multiple grunts in the area, with Marius the Dragon Knight just saying, "Go wild. No matter how strong you may be, against our captain, you'll never win." With a flash of Neraid's tail, he tells all of these grunts that all they're doing to him is making him too bored to yawn, as we get a really cool image of Neraid pointing towards them, and it's just Aurafarming galore from this man. Like, this is insanely intimidating, and all of these grunts know they are fucked. Instead, we cut to Antares' office as she is giving a report over what's going on with Neraid after he entered, as Kerner explains that this all happened an hour ago. Someone infiltrated the base, and a bunch of soldiers got knocked out, and it seems that the responsible parties retreated and escaped into the sewers. And a search is already underway below ground, but the pursuit's going to be difficult due to the convoluted underground construction of all of these sewer pipes. And Kerner reveals that it seems that they knew that security was weakest in that area, and it's ironic that their casualties have been kept to a minimum thanks to that. But Antares realizes what happened, and that Miris must have been the one to have them take that path. And kind of commends him because he's not the type to break easy, but he also determined that he was unable to take down Neraid, and so he decided to keep damage to the city and soldiers at a minimum by telling them to go to a place with the least amount of guards. And honestly, I like it that she's not like damning him or whatever. Obviously, based on what we see from Antares previously, that doesn't seem to be her style and who she is, but I am glad that we're getting this level of respect for her own subordinates, for even information that would undermine them to a degree. So it shows the amount of respect that she has for her men, and I really do appreciate seeing that side of her, as she is the commander and leader of this section of the Dragon military. But Kerner then asks the obvious question, why Antares didn't just decide to deal with them herself the second they entered the city, save all the time and manpower. But Antares just equates them scurrying around as rats in the sewers, and you don't call in the military to deal with rats scurrying about the kitchen. But, yeah, that kind of makes sense to a degree. Plus, if she joined the fray on the outside, she would probably destroy a good chunk of the city herself with how powerful she is. So, yeah, but the real reason essentially equates to them not knowing fully how Neraid was able to revive himself, because what he got was more or less a killing blow. He was bleeding out. And so she reveals that, essentially, right now, their fighting strength comes in numbers at the moment against Neraid. And a dragon's powers and abilities release once one of them dies. And so she equates Neraid's revival to Schmitt's abilities. And so their first priority is to get rid of Schmitt. And if she just goes in all out, Schmitt might scurry away to try and hide. And so if she tries to kill Neraid again, he might be able to revive Neraid once more. So right now, they want to basically disarm a bomb that then things will be okay. And that does make sense. And the fact that we got confirmation that a dragon's abilities literally diminish or disappear once they die is honestly a nice piece of information, which also adds a bit of extra risk, because if Schmitt does die, there is a strong chance that even with the, reattachments of his limbs, Neraid could very well potentially, die to his injuries again. His body would return to the state it was before Schmitt healed him, and he could just bleed out again. Unless all this is now permanent, since it's been a while since these repairs were done, but we don't know all that yet. But then Kerner ends up asking Antares, is this reasoning also why he didn't tell us about Neraid Keeper? Because there's no need to think about him. But Antares pauses and says, I haven't shown you this yet, have I? As she pulls something out from her desk and places it on top of the desk. As Kerner looks, it is some type of belt or chainmail type thing, like a chain wrap or something. As apparently this was recovered from Yuri Holst's former home after their attack, seemingly. And at first, it just seems like an ordinary piece of metalwork, but Antares just ends up tossing it and then tries to slash at it with her blade. And really cool detail, as again, Antares' slash really cuts the manga panels right clean through, as well as the sound effect. I love it whenever this happens. Her power is so great that the mangaka showcased this by having her literally break through the manga panels. I'm like, for the first real antagonist of this manga, is already an insane thing to do. I don't know how he's going to top Antares for future antagonists, but I cannot wait to see. But as Antares slices at this piece of metal, Kerner is just obviously in shock because that was very close. But it appears that this piece of metal was not harmed in any way. It took no damage. The wall was sliced, but the metal fabric was not sustaining any damage at all. And they even tried analyzing it, but they have no idea what it's made of, and they couldn't even remove even the tiniest particle from it. They don't know what it is, they don't know what it's used for, or why Yuri Holst possessed it. And did he acquire it, or did he make it? As she thinks of Neraid, as all she knows for certain is that when Neraid Keeper fought viciously to slay her that night, the look in his eyes brought to mind this creepy scrap of metal. They were identical. And it's not that she didn't try to inform Kerner and everyone about him. It's just that they don't know the first thing about him. And in any case, their defenses have been broken. And so now it's time for her to go face Neraid, as rats roaming through sewers have brought countless cities to ruin after all. Now, that is an insane stuff to just output on us right now. Because this piece of metal is definitely interesting, because we have a lot of stuff worrying about what's going on with Yuri Host. Whether it is, why he seemingly is involved with the slaying of the Dragon King, what his research on the essence of dragonfolks are, the dragon source, and dragonfolk powers, as well as his connection to Neraid and Neraid's whole amnesiac thing. But for Antares to bring out this piece of metal that seemingly Yuri had, origins and creation unknown, purpose unknown, adds more piles to the mysteries of this series. And I love how when Neraid was literally so, in the fight, that he was literally giving out full killing intent to Antares before he passed out, that it reminded her of this piece of metal, because it scared her that it was just the sheer unknown, that she knew nothing about it. It was unidentifiable. Nothing came to mind, and the unknown is what scares anybody. And I love that. And the fact that she didn't say anything about Neraid to his subordinates, even the Dragon Knights she sent to go and, look out for Neraid and to face him, the information that they decided not to give them is the fact that they had no information on him whatsoever. So that's also something to really think about and consider. And I do kind of love it, as it just plays up the mystery and unknown of the series so much. And I need to know what happens and what everything is. But it's then a soldier comes in to report to Antares. As she is once again getting serious, we get a transition with Neraid's tale, as we see dozens of just nameless soldiers knocked unconscious as Neraid's fists are bloodied. As we see him in silhouette staring down what is essentially Antares' main fort from what we can tell. And man, once more Neraid looks like an absolute monster. as we get a close-up of a door handle opened up and twisted. The dragonfolk detectors are going berserk, buzzing like crazy, as all the soldiers are wondering what's going on and getting ready for battle positions, as Neraid is standing in the middle of the fortress of this factory, on top of a giant pipe, just standing there, as this whole thing is going ballistic, buzzing louder and louder. And with this alarm going off louder could only mean another dragonfolk is with them, as Neraid, obviously not looking behind him yet, ends up saying, "Hey, pardon the intrusion. Is that right?" As behind him in this beautiful double-page spread is a soaked in black Antares with her pressure just emanating out like crackling thunderbolts. Or, in One Piece terms, like Conqueror's Hockey. And once more, the Aurafarming is immeasurable, as she is just standing behind Neraid, ready to unleash an actual fight. Her tail is out, no holding back whatsoever, as Antares just says, plain as day, to respond to Neraid's whole intrusion thing. And that ends the chapter. Again, this series is so worth the wait, and the art, once more, just keeps getting better and better. The panel work in this series is always fantastic, and the way these characters interact and think is incredible. Not to mention, we got even more mysteries from just a scrap of metal. This series is fantastic. Al knows what he's doing, and I legitimately cannot wait for the next chapter. I think it's still monthly at the time of me recording this video, but if there's a new chapter, obviously, I'll update you with potentially a chapter review. But either way, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this chapter and what do you think will happen next in the comment section down below. I'll try and do like a response video to those comments to get a bit more of a consistent flow of Galaxias content between chapters, so you guys can get at least something out of me without just chapter reviews for right now. But that's going to be it from me. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates for when I upload next. And with all that said and done, stay hyped, because the Aurafarming ain't get done yet. Have an awesome day.